I like going back to the same films, you know, for like I'm a bit like, I love watching new films, but for treats. So I'm feeling Interstellar tonight.
Ooh.
We're big fans of it.
Ooh.
You know that film Interstellar?
Yeah.
Love that
You
film.
like a bit of galaxies and a bit of.
Well, I like it because I like that, but I like because at the heart of it, it's about love, you know, and it's, to me, it gets me crying. It's the love of a father and their daughter,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
It's
so
beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. I love that. And bringing it back to music, that so reminds me. You two remind me of. I was in a concert once. It's funny because this conversation come around full circle. Um, I was in a concert once doing Let It Be. So I'm up at the piano, I'm doing Let It Be. I look out in the audience, and there was a very tall, good-looking man, um, and a girl beside him who was obviously his daughter, and she had sort of long black hair, and she's sort of looking up at him, and he's looking down at her, and I'm singing the soundtrack, and it was like, it was quite difficult to like not just hold back and. But it was
uh,
beautiful. I love that. It's so lovely.
it's amazing that, you know what, it's so lovely to hear that because, you know, there could be a lot of people, you know, you could have done the Paul McCartney in Vegas thing, which is thank you very much, you know, and it, you know what I mean, and but you
Yeah.
feel it still, and that's why we love you, because we can tell
Yeah.
you still feel it, right?
Well, well, thank you. I mean, I certainly do.
Yeah,
There's no denying it. It's like, it's just, we're so lucky to
yeah,
be able to do this in life. There's so many people who are really good musicians and stuff, but they don't get as lucky as we've got. I mean, it's not
yeah.
all luck. A lot of it's hard work and skill, obviously, but it is great. It's a great job.
It's great, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
I've felt a bit guilty over the last year, sort of feeling a bit down and stuff, because I'm aware that it's like our job is like winning the lottery, right? We've got the golden ticket, and like you said, there's hard work, but you don't mind doing hard work if it's something that you love, you know?
Mm. The payoff is the best thing.
Oh,
When you've struggled with something. I'm actually, after this, I'm actually going to a studio out here, working with a young producer. And I was with him yesterday, and it was a bit of a struggle. I was trying to think of what I wanted to do on the bass. And I thought, oh God, I'm on the spot. I don't really know these people too well. I've got to try and be wonderful. But it was okay. And in the end, it was like, oh, wow, that's
yeah,
good. That's good.
yeah.
And so that payoff is what makes it all worthwhile.
It's that, I mean, I guess what you're also saying, it's like what I learned from, when you go and play with other musicians who are great musicians, and I'd only really played with Radiohead until about maybe 15 years ago. I wasn't in any other bands, and, because it was full on. And then you go and play with other musicians and Johnny Marr and Neil Finn and stuff like that. And I think one of the great things was I was really nervous before you do that, because you think, shit, am I going to be any good? How am I going to be?
Yeah.
And you realize that actually uncertainty and insecurity is all part of it as well, right? It's, and that's kind of necessary as well. That kind of ups your game, but it's also part of the humility. I think it's so important to have, that humility with music. It's because the moment you don't, you get your ass kicked. And that's what I also love about music, that I always say this, I think music is like the biggest bullshit detector, like it can really sniff it out, and
Really?
you get your ass. It's because it is magic. There's obviously stuff that we do, but also it comes through us, right? We got these little antennae, and if we're all, Jack the Lad, those antennae aren't working so well.
No, I know. That's a case of, do you know who I think I am?
Yeah, yeah, right.
There's a few of those people around.
Yeah, there are a few of those.
Do you know who I am? No, but I'd say every time I go in the studio, and the other added factor, I think, is when you've had success, you're now worrying that in their eyes, the people you're working with, they're going to say, come on, then, let's see
Yeah.
this brilliance you're renowned for. You go,
Yeah.
holy shit, I'm not really brilliant. I'm just like,
Oh, man, do you know what? That so warms my heart, Paul, to hear you say that, because
well, it's true. You can't get around it, I don't think.
yeah, that beautiful. I totally agree with you, and yeah, totally. Almost every time you start a new project with somebody, a new producer or something, it's kind of, and you would, yeah, I mean, almost like the bigger the projects that you've had in the past, the more, but
More pressure, yeah.
more pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So have you got another album on the go? Have you got more music?
No, this is I just met this guy, Andrew Watt, who's a new young producer. He's probably not that new, but I mean, to me he is. And I just met him the other day. He's got a great little studio, which is in Charlie Chaplin's old house.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's real Hollywood history,
Yeah.
And he's got this fabulous little studio in the bottom. So I was going around maybe to just have a cup of tea with him, and we got talking, and I said, well, I was talking about something. I said, you don't happen to have a left-handed guitar here, do you? You go, yes, we do. So suddenly I've got a guitar. And we just took it from there, and I said, should we put this down? So we ended up doing a track. But again, it's not me trying to make a new album. It's just doing a song with this guy who's fun to work with. So
that's great.
It may well be on a next album. I'm not in a hurry. We've got tonight's album coming out.
Come on.
Yeah,
your
man.
album. So cool.
Album.
So it's so funny because like I'm 53 today, so I'm still chuffed that we're to be doing this. But I love that thing in life. Like my 10-year-old boy, I was a Beatles obsessive. So like you have these moments in your life. I don't know if you had it when you met Elvis or something, but when you have these moments when you think about like, my 10-year-old self is going absolutely nuts here, and it's great because you have these conversations with people who, and I think we're so lucky because in music you tend to meet your heroes along the way, right? And usually it's a fantastic connection and a conversation like we're having now. Sometimes it can be a bit weird, but usually it's great, and it's that circle. It's that beautiful circle that happens,
It really is, yeah. No, I have that too. Like you say, we met Elvis, and since we were kids, hitchhiking on holiday and stuff, and there'd be an Elvis record, and it would just be like God.
Yeah.
And it was just his music was like, you didn't know how they did it. You just couldn't figure out how it made these sounds and how he sang so beautifully and loosely. And then you meet him and it's like, oh, it's like nervous, but he was great, he was very friendly, and he was starting to play bass. He plays bass on one or two tracks, Elvis tracks, so I could talk to him about the bass.
Yeah.
So that gave me a conversation opener.
Did you think because so it's a bit like Elvis is like your specialized subject in terms of that was the music you grew up with. Like from afar, Elvis is a generation removed from me.
Yeah.
And I love, I remember the summer of '77 when he died. They played his movies on the TV all summer. I'm 9 years old and I watched them because there's nothing else on TV, right? But I watched them and I'm sort of transfixed. And then you sort of get into Elvis and you listen to stuff. And it's that thing that the stuff that he did right. Am I right in thinking the stuff that he did before he went into the army had the magic? Because he had Bill Black, Scotty Moore. He had his brothers around him. And then after the army, it all became a bit showbiz and didn't quite have the soul. Would that be fair?
That's definitely how we felt. Yeah.
Right.
People in those days, they go into the army and they say, it'll make a man of you.
Yeah.
And we didn't like that idea.
No.
It's like, I'm not sure I want to be made a man of,
No.
you know, but he did. But no, the stuff prior to the army was just so great. You know, I read quite a bit about him and some of the books, his story, and it
Yeah.
really is just a country boy, you know, and he's very influenced by the black people who live across the tracks. And he
Yeah.
would go to those clubs and listen to a lot of black
Yeah.
music live. So it was just so amazing. Yeah. Anyway, there it is.
Yeah.
But it was a joy to meet him. You know, we tell him all this, how much we loved all this stuff. Now the other crazy thing though was kind of unfortunate because with the Beatles coming in, it kind of edged him out, and that was the last thing we wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, we never wanted to be, you know, edging Elvis out of the picture. But
So
anyway, he was gorgeous.
But he was all right. You didn't get any sense of him being like he knew that these four guys from Liverpool were taking his space.
No, it was great. And I prefer to remember it like that because, in actual fact, later he did get a bit funny.
Yeah.
He went to visit Nixon once.
Oh yeah.
It's sort of documented somewhere. But he starts busting us. He starts saying, you know, those Beatles are not so good, you know. They're taking drugs and all. I'm thinking, you dirty rotter.
And there's that photo of him with Nixon in it as his pupils are completely dilating. He's stoned off his head.
And the Secret Service giving him a gun, and he's wild. But I mean, you know, we forgave him. It's like, you know. Crazy.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, so great.
He definitely tried to bust us, I must say.
Bastard.
Hey, listen, you'd better get to your cake.
Thank you,
This is going to be a wonderful cake, I can tell, by having met the cook. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
cheers,
Paul.
man. So, yeah, well,
Big love.
Thank you, man. Yeah, same here. And thanks very much for doing the track. I look forward to you hearing the whole album and enjoy it. And I think it is a bit dancey, the album, because a lot of it's sort of mixy and so great. So thanks, man. On your birthday. Thank you so much.
Lovely
to
Paul.
see
Big
you.
love you, man. Thank you.
Lots of love to you.
Lots
And
of love.
England.
Take care.
See you, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.